So you want to do Airbnb, arbitrage, or co-hosting, and you're like, why would a landlord actually want to work with me? And honestly, why wouldn't they just list the Airbnb property themselves? I get these questions all the time. And honestly, once you understand the value you're providing a landlord, not only will they want to work with you, but they'll even provide like 1 to 2 months rent for free to work with you. So I'm going to break down exactly how we do that in this video. If you're new here, I'm Vince. I scaled from 0 to a now 7-figure Airbnb portfolio without buying any property through arbitrage just in the last year and a half, 2 years. As a matter of fact, I'm down here furnishing a new 36-unit apartment deal, which I'm really excited about. But I started airpreneur.com with my business partner, Adam. And what we do is we help people create job quitting Airbnb businesses because it's a business model that's scalable, doesn't require a lot of money, and it's ultimately very passive when you build out the back end. So, but one of the things that people often get intimidated by when starting this is how to have the conversation with the landlord or property owner in order to get them to agree to work with you. So first, I'm going to talk about why they would want to work with you, and then I'll talk about why they wouldn't just do it themselves, because I get that question a lot as well. So why would they want to work with you, right? So think about it this way. If you are a landlord, what is it that keeps you up at night? Now, if none of you guys are landlords, I just want you to put yourself in the shoes of a landlord, right? So first off, having a bad tenant is detrimental, right? Somebody who doesn't take care of the property, have a poor background, or they're just not who they say they are, they don't pay rent on time, like that, first off, will keep a landlord going insane, right? So on-time rent, that's a big thing. And then also that could lead to evictions. Evictions will cost the landlord not only thousands of dollars, but thousands of dollars in no rent for that time frame when they're doing the eviction as well. So it's a really bad thing. Now, the other thing is having a property that is not kept up well at all, right? So I dealt with this myself, or I still have it. I still have an investment property that is very old. And when things started going, they really started going. Not only did that eat into my pocket and my margins, but it also stressed me out beyond all belief because I knew that I was on the hook for a lot of things and potentially more things down the line. And then there's other stuff too, like landlords have to deal with picking up the phone in the middle of the night if the tenants are like, hey, I've got a leaky toilet or whatever. I got text from my tenants not long ago about there being a leak coming from upstairs and now the ceiling panels were literally falling into the kitchen. But if you're wondering why my rental property isn't a short-term rental, when I'm talking about short-term rentals, it is because it is in New York, and that is probably the one out of 19,000 cities in the US that I would not do this in. But putting that aside, another thing is landlords do not want to deal with vacancy, right? So each time a tenant leaves the property, they now don't have a tenant and they're losing money. And it's a stressful process to find a new tenant. I mean, you've all probably been the tenant in that situation. You've got to fill out an application. They have to meet with you. They have to show you the property. They have to make sure that they like you and you like them. And it's just a stressful process for everybody. The landlord's probably going through that several times a day, right? It's a lot. So the other thing here too, guys, is if they want somebody to run the property for them and take some of those headaches off of their plate, that will cost them anywhere from 10 to 15% of their monthly rent in the whole house. Guys, that severely will eat into their margins, right? Most landlords don't want a property manager because the property barely cash flows as is, right? They're investors. So if you now have to pay another 8 to 10% or 15% for a property manager, now they are in the hole, right? They're in the negative or they're breaking even, which is not good if you're buying a real estate investment property. So guys, there's a lot of reasons landlords are kept up at night. Good news for you is you as an arbitrage tenant are taking literally all of that away, right? You're paying rent on time every single month. You're keeping the property super clean because you have cleaners there regularly. It's in your business's best interest to do so. You're not taking a fee on rent. So they now get the passive side of the business. They now get a passive real estate property because of you, and you're not charging them extra. You're paying them the full rent. They're not dealing with phone calls from guests or the leaky toilet tenants or any of that stuff because that's kind of your job, which I'll explain in a second. It's not really your job, but the property's also never vacant, right? They never have to deal with evictions because in most states, now I'm not a legal professional, so this is not legal advice, but in most states, if it's under a 30-day stay, they typically don't have tenant rights. So I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Things change all the time, but if it's under 30 days, they typically don't have full tenant rights from what I've researched. So the point is there are so many great reasons you are providing so much value to the landlord. And they not only want to work with you, but if you say, hey, I'll do all this for you, plus I'll sign a 2 to 3 year lease, then they might be inclined to give you a month or two for free, which has happened to us and every single one of our students because we present it the right way. Now, the other question I get a lot is if they recognize that the property can make money on Airbnb, why wouldn't the landlord just list it themselves? And this is a good question. And I had that question myself. But now when I have conversations with landlords, if a landlord says that to me, which is why don't I just list it? My new response is go ahead and do it and call me back in a month. Now, why do I say that, right? I'm being a smart ass, but the reality is landlords bought an investment property for passive income. They didn't buy it to create an Airbnb business, right? Which means the second they start dealing with guest messages and dealing with cleaners and coordinating with cleaners, and now they have to invest more money into furnishing the property, it's going to be a headache for them. Now, you're probably wondering, well, I wanted to start an Airbnb arbitrage business, or I wanted to start with Airbnb, but I don't want to deal with those headaches either. The good news is for us, the people that know what we're doing, you can automate all of that, right? But most landlords don't know that. But the other thing is most landlords also don't know how to list an Airbnb and make sure that it will make money, or they don't even do the research on the property to know that it will make money. So they might try to list it, not know how to actually run an Airbnb listing, not make the money they thought they were going to, and they're going to get frustrated and wasted money. Now, fortunately for us, guys, if you're watching this channel or you're a student of ours or whatever, then you know how to optimize your pricing so you always stay booked and make the most money. You know how to market your listing the right way, and you're loving life, right? Because you can just manage the business remotely from anywhere and hopefully quit your job and live life more autonomously. Those are the real reasons, guys, is like a landlord didn't sign up to create an Airbnb business. They just wanted passive income. So not everybody's going to make money on Airbnb anymore these days. It's more competitive. So now, as long as you do the right analysis, you list it the right way, you do all this stuff that I'm talking about, you'll make money, and you can make a lot of money doing this. But that breaks down why landlords want to work with you and why they probably won't want to list it themselves. So guys, this YouTube channel is all about helping you to quit your job by creating your own Airbnb business without having to buy property and scaling it quickly as hell, just like we did. So go ahead and subscribe here for more content on how to find properties, do analysis. We talk about automation, all that stuff. If you want to get coached by us for free, just go ahead and click the link below to join our free Facebook group. We go live in it twice a week. We'll do live analysis on our students' properties so you understand how we do that calculation. And we also will do live Q&As to answer your questions so you get started. Peace.